Do you think it's rude, disrespectful? Maybe you just think it's a crime against fashion, not a crime against manners, or maybe you think it's a crime against both to wear trainers for the King's speech. Former Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau wore bright green and orange Adidas trainers with his navy suit to the opening of the Canadian Parliament. You can see him right there doing it. That was earlier this week. His fashion choices have caused quite a stir. Many people have branded the 53-year-old disrespectful. Maybe you think it's nothing to do with respect, it's to do with having terrible choice in footwear. But what do you think about this one? Would you be affronted? What if he came dressed like that to your wedding? What if he walked into court dressed like that? What do you think? 0207 862 2222, that's the number. Do give us a ring on that one. Dawn, he walks into the Canadian Parliament in a suit with those
It's completely disrespectful. I don't care what you think of the monarchy. There is a time and a place for wearing trainers, and it's not in an occasion like that. I mean, you dress for what you're doing for the day. I mean, I would always wear a suit or something like a nice dress, like you both are, to come on a show like this. I wouldn't just rock up in jeans and a T-shirt.
Although I've had guests in jeans and T-shirts.
I'm sure you
I don't
have.
say a word.
I'm sure you
I keep my thoughts to myself.
Yeah, but I
have thoughts.
Yeah, I know what
definitely
you're
have
thinking.
thoughts.
I do know
I don't say anything.
But
I say
it is about
nothing.
respect. I mean, I think what Justin Trudeau is the ex-Prime Minister, let's remind ourselves, I think he was just, look at me, this is all about me.
I completely disagree with that.
I knew you
this
would.
whole King Charles turns up in a horse and carriage. I mean, how deluded is that? And
Wait, hang on a minute.
Let me finish.
I'm not going to let you finish. You just said, I will repeat to you what you just said. You said King Charles turns up in a horse and carriage. Hang on. And then you said what I think you thought might have been a rhetorical question. Yes. How deluded is that? And I'm going to say to you, in what way is that deluded? He is the king. He's not deluded in thinking.
Because we don't care. Like, he's a man at the end of the day. King Charles is just a man at the end of the day. He's human.
He wasn't strolling in to have a sandwich.
No,
he was there to declare Parliament open.
He's come in horse and carriage, and then people are actually vindicating Justin for wearing just Adidas trainers. Who cares?
Not vilifying him.
But who cares? Like, he wore trainers. He didn't come barefoot. He didn't squash his feet on his face. He didn't do anything so bad. So what if he wore trainers? That's up to him. He was comfortable.
Let's just fling a few words into the air here. Protocol, etiquette,
respect.
Appropriateness and respect.
So, but he didn't do anything disrespectful. He just wore some trainers that were comfortable. And I think the Canadians are far more, they're relaxed. They don't have this whole monarchy thing going on. They don't really care.
They don't care. King Charles is their king. They certainly do.
But no, he clearly doesn't. And what he's trying to say is that it doesn't matter what I'm wearing. It's like the whole thing with Trump and Zelensky. He didn't come in a suit. Well, so what? That doesn't make us the man. Just because King Charles turns up in a robe and horse and carriage, how does that make him better?
Nobody's saying it's not to do with being better. It's to do with showing an appreciation.
Why?
There's a difference between being in your own bedroom, in your own garden at a
This
barbecue,
is very elitist.
on the beach of Blackpool, or at the opening of Parliament, in a formal occasion, a formal event, don't you think?
But what was wrong with wearing those trainers that he was like? He had a suit on. It was just a pair of shoes. And I think that then you create this kind of hierarchy. He's the king and we should be dressed like this. If he went to India, they'd have on, sandals and they'd have on a sherwani, so that doesn't make it disrespectful. I think the Canadians are just a lot more relaxed. They don't care for the king. Maybe they don't care for the king.
He was the only Canadian there wearing that. All the others were wearing very smart black polished shoes.
So are you trying to say? Are you trying to say that he was disrespecting the king so badly that this was a sign that he doesn't care for the king? Or are you trying to say that actually it's just a pair of shoes, who cares?
I think it's childish and disrespectful, yes.
Wow! You really think that if the king was here now, and if I've got trainers on, I'm disrespecting the king?
Well, this is a television programme. This isn't the opening of Parliament.
But if I was to go there...
This isn't an official situation with a certain protocol and a mode of dress. This is if you want to come in your bedroom slippers and I've invited you, I'm not going to say anything about it, but I'm not the king, and it's not that kind of environment.
That's the case in point.
I don't care.
Why haven't you turned up in your pyjamas for this show?
Because I love dressing up. I love dressing up. And I think that he didn't come in slippers. He came in some comfortable trainers. It doesn't mean he's disrespecting the king. And even if it does mean he's disrespecting the king, so what? He's entitled to. It's a free world, free opinion. He can dress how he wants. Maybe he was disrespecting the king. So what? Why are you so bothered that he was disrespecting the king? That's his opinion.
Well, because it's discourteous. Because it's you
What
might
do-
say
no,
you might say
discourteous is rude
you might say
manners.
slobbish, and you might say lacking in sort of rigor, the kind of rigor that means that you dress in a particular way for a certain occasion and differently on a different occasion.
I think there's a lot of, and I'm hearing it here that it's our king and he disrespected our king. And I don't see it like that. I just think, well, he's just a man. He's just King Charles. Who cares? He was an adulterer. And why should he be respected?
Good Lord, what's that got to do with anything?
Well, then why should he be respected?
The number is 0207 862 2222. If you'd like to respond to Narinder, maybe you agree with every word she says, maybe you don't think it matters, maybe you do think it matters, maybe very often you go to formal occasions yourself and you see what other people are wearing and you are horrified. Maybe you think, well, where are you? Where do you think you are? Maybe you've saved up to get to the flipping theatre, which is incredibly expensive. And then you look at the people next to you and you say that very old-fashioned thing, which is, my goodness, people used to dress to go to the theatre. They used to dress to get on an aeroplane if they could manage to get on an aeroplane. People dressed, because you were not in your own bedroom. You didn't wear your pyjamas. You didn't wear some scuzzy old shorts and a dirty T-shirt. People dressed in a way that acknowledged that an occasion
trainers,
was
I do
required.
agree. I love people dressing up, and I think it's bad manners not to. But I don't think these trainers were bad manners. They're nice. You know how expensive those trainers are? They were comfortable. And he had a suit on. I don't understand the big debate about this. I'm so shocked that people are offended by a pair of trainers.
Dawn, it's a signal of something.
Look at Dawn's face. Dawn's like, oh my God.
Look at Dawn's face, full stop. That's all we need to do.
I just think when we're doing Zoom meetings during lockdown, I would actually wear a suit and heels to do that because I'm respecting the people I'm talking to.
Even below camera?
Yes, I was. I wanted to feel professional. And Justin Trudeau is still representing his country. And that at least should matter to him.
Let's go to Hannah. She's on the line in Norfolk, and I'd like to know. Hannah feels, I think, as if it's a crime, not about manners or respect, but much more about fashion. What do you think, Hannah, about this one?
Well, hello, Vanessa. I read your book 2 days ago.
Oh, what did you think?
Yeah, quite interesting. Quite interesting.
Quite? That's the only life I've had. I couldn't really put anything else in it. That was the content was essentially. If I'd had a more interesting life, I could have written a more interesting book.
Well, you didn't bear everything. You didn't. Never mind. Now I want to say, when my daughter.
How could you know whether I did or didn't? If it's not in the book, you don't know, do you?
Well, I read about you a lot.
Oh, I see.
And
tell me about the suit and the trainers, my love.
Right. When my daughter graduated with a PhD for university, my ex-husband decided to put on a fancy suit for the graduation with trainers. I was furious, not because disrespect to the university or disrespect to my daughter. It just looked stupid with his suit. Well, he never had any style, but I told him before to buy nice shoes, but he never had nice shoes. He liked trainers. That's the only reason I was angry. And the same with Trudeau. Saying it, maybe he doesn't like the king. Maybe he wants, he disrespects the king, but it's nothing to do with the king. It's to do with his style. The English put too much emphasis on how people dress, and, it's disrespectful. You can put a suit on a person, who it's not intelligent with respect to him. It doesn't make him intelligent, but the English think it does.
Not sure where you've reached that conclusion. I don't know whether people think wearing a suit makes you seem more intelligent, but thank you very much indeed for the call. Let's go to Diane in County Durham on this one. What do you think, Diane? Did it look right to you? Did it feel right?
I think it's totally disrespectful to wear green and orange trainers to a formal event.
Uh-huh.
I think that trainers are meant for leisure and sports. They're not meant to wear to formal events. I mean, they weren't even matching trainers, were they? They didn't even match his suit.
I mean, they're expensive trainers, as Narinder has pointed out. So you might say they were sort of attention-seeking trainers. Look at these expensive trainers that I'm wearing, and they don't match the suit, and I don't care. Maybe it's that kind of a thing, a kind of fashion statement of a sort, Diane.
I think that standards have dropped in ways of dress. And if you look at how we dressed in the 50s and 60s, it's a lot different now. And the same as I think President Zelensky's, he's disrespectful running around in his combat suit at formal events.
On the other hand, he's doing that for a very, as far as he would think, and I think many people would agree, very important reason. He's doing it to say my country is at war. You know, we've been invaded and attacked. I haven't got time to choose a tie, choose a waistcoat, choose a dinner jacket. My country's at war. He's making a very important statement, and I don't think it's got anything to do with trying to disrespect anyone. It's to say this is the predicament we're in, and I'm here to draw attention to it. That's the kind of signal that he's sending. Not I just couldn't be bothered to find the right shoes and I'm not interested in fashion. It's not a fashion thing, I don't think, anyway. But Diane, thanks so much for the call. Let's go to Georgina in Kent. What do you think, Georgina?
I think it's totally and utterly disrespectful, and he should be setting an example in his country. He's the head of state of his country.
Well, not anymore. He was Prime Minister, but he's not now, is he?
Oh, well, but it's still representing his country. And it's just an example of a lackadaisical world, slapdash, or anything will do. I mean, you wouldn't go to King's Garden Party dressed like that. You don't have the proper attire. And I still think, and going to last caller about Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, he's doing that. And he said when the war has ended, he'll go back wearing a suit. He's making a statement. It's just like the Bishop of York did. He's not going to wear a suit until the war has ended. He's making it, that's different. But the President Trudeau to come and wear those bright green trainers, it wasn't even
fashionable, Georgina, and he had a suit on. To be fair, he's got a suit on, and it's very fashionable. Men tend to wear trainers with their suits these days. My husband wears trainers with his suits.
I don't agree with you at all. I think he should have a proper dress, a nice brown polo shoes or black polo shoes to go with a suit. I think
he chose comfort, and I think as women we would all choose comfort sometimes.
Narinder, just quickly, because we're probably running out of time on this one. So you like dressing up, and you always
love dressing up.
You're absolutely gorgeous. But do you think, though, that there are certain occasions where you have to show respect, or do you think that doesn't apply to any occasion?
I think he did show respect, just because he wore some fashionable
I'm asking you
trainers.
Personally, getting away from him, do you think there are some occasions where you have to show respect to that occasion in the way you dress?
A wedding. I think you have to be very respectful.
Where
and I think a funeral. I think they're the two. But if you're meeting the king and you're not really into you're not really bothered.
It was the state opening of Parliament.
And he wore a suit.
And trainers.
All right, you
Doesn't
two,
matter.
honestly.